Hope on the Horizon, Episode 4, Israel, God's Prophetic Timepiece. There is one nation in the world that stands at the center of biblical prophecy. A nation that has been scattered, regathered, and is constantly in the focus of global attention. That nation is Israel. Today we are going to explore why Israel is so important in understanding the last days, and why the events happening around this small nation may be more significant than they appear. Welcome to Hope on the Horizon, where we explore biblical prophecy, understand the times we are living in, and fix our eyes on the hope that God has promised. To understand the role of Israel in prophecy, we have to go back to the promises of God. In the Old Testament, God made a covenant with Abraham. He promised that his descendants would become a great nation, and that through them all the nations of the earth would be blessed. That nation is Israel. But the story of Israel is unlike any other nation in history. The people of Israel were scattered across the world, without a homeland, for nearly 2,000 years. And yet the Bible foretold that they would return. In Ezekiel chapter 37, the prophet describes a vision of dry bones, bones that were lifeless, scattered, and without hope. But then God breathes life into those bones, and they come together again, bone to bone, flesh and skin forming, until they stand as a living nation. This vision represents the restoration of Israel. For centuries, this may have seemed impossible. But in 1948, something extraordinary happened. After nearly 2,000 years, Israel was reborn as a nation. A people once scattered were gathered again into their land, exactly as the Bible said. Jesus also spoke about Israel in relation to the last days. In Luke chapter 21, he referred to Jerusalem and the times of the Gentiles. And he indicated that there would come a time when Jerusalem would once again be central in God's prophetic plan. Today, Jerusalem remains one of the most contested cities in the entire world. Nations gather, debates intensify, and the eyes of the world are fixed on this small piece of land. Why? Because Israel is not just another nation. It is God's prophetic timepiece. What happens in Israel often signals what is happening in God's timeline. The Bible tells us that in the last days, Israel will be at the center of global attention. In Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39, we read about a future conflict involving Israel and surrounding nations, a coalition of nations coming against her. This prophecy has caused many to watch closely as tensions in the region continue to grow. But once again, this is not meant to cause fear. It is meant to remind us that God is in control. Throughout history, Israel has faced opposition, yet the nation still stands, not because of human strength alone, but because of God's faithfulness. The existence of Israel today is one of the strongest evidences that the Bible is true. What God promised, He has fulfilled, and what He has spoken about the future will also come to pass. So what does this mean for us today? It means that we are living in a time when prophecy is unfolding before our eyes. It means that the return of Jesus is closer than ever before. And it means that we should be watching, not with fear, but with hope. Because the same God who restored Israel has also given us a promise, that Jesus Christ will return. And when He does, He will establish His kingdom. A kingdom of righteousness, peace, and truth. So when you see the headlines, when you hear about tensions, and when the world seems uncertain, remember this: God's plan is unfolding exactly as He said it would. Israel is not just part of history, it is a signpost pointing to the future. A reminder that we are moving closer to the fulfillment of God's promises. And for the believer, that is not a reason to fear. It is a reason to have hope. Because no matter how complex the world becomes, and no matter how intense the headlines may be, there is always a greater story unfolding, a story that ends with the return of Jesus Christ. So stay watchful, stay faithful, and keep your eyes on what God is doing. Because no matter how dark the world becomes, there is always hope on the horizon.